You still say you would vote for him for president. That's what I don't get.
George, I said what every Republican nominee said to make it on that debate stage, that we will actually support the Republican nominee from our party. Frankly, I think that this is an embodiment of what's wrong with our culture right now, looking backwards, obsessing over details in the past, going after one man, a deranged mental cultural state in the media and in this country, as opposed to talking about what we need to talk about, how we better declare independence from China.
And that is Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy sparring with ABC News anchor George Stephanopoulos. It's interesting to hear Ramaswamy complain about a deranged cultural mental state in the media when he's asked about Donald Trump's efforts to block the 2020 election, when the deranged mental state, according to a majority of Americans, belongs to Trump and his co-conspirators who tried to overthrow democracy and inspire the Capitol insurrection on January the 6th. Clearly, Ramaswamy feels cornered when he's asked about Trump's actions and is trying to have it both ways. Ramaswamy doesn't want to anger the Trump MAGA crowd by condemning the former president's actions, but he also doesn't want to be seen as approving Trump's behavior. So Ramaswamy demands that we all talk only about the future. Stephanopoulos delivered a compelling and succinct pushback.
Sir, that man is the front runner for the Republican nomination right now. He's a former president of the United States. He's leading you by 40 points, yet you still say you would vote for him despite what you say about his behavior. That's the question I am asking. It's not an obsession.
Just as I expect him to vote for me when I'm the nominee. Well, look, George, I think that the way elections work in the United States of America is that the people in a political party get to choose their nominee, and then the people in the general election get to choose their president.
And that's another dodge by Ramaswamy. Yes, the voters will decide who they support for president, but a lot of voters want to evaluate the values, ethics, and integrity of the candidates. And that includes hearing directly about how a candidate feels about something as historic as, say, a fellow presidential candidate who is facing 91 felony charges in 4 separate criminal cases. But again, Ramaswamy doesn't want to anger any Republican voters, so he attacks the media for asking questions about Trump. The fact is, there are some candidates in this GOP race who have condemned Donald Trump and declared that they will never vote for him if he's the nominee. But those candidates, including former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, are not currently polling as a leading Trump alternative. Ramaswamy is up there now with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and Ramaswamy seems determined to not rock the boat under any circumstances, including any revelation or development involving Donald Trump. It is not exactly a profile in courage. In fact, it sounds a lot like pandering to the MAGA crowd.
If Donald Trump's the nominee, yes, I will support him. And if I'm the president, yes, I will pardon him, because that will help reunite the country. But it's not the most important thing I'm going to do as the next president. It is the table stakes for moving this country forward.
So your bottom line is that you would vote for a convicted felon because other people are voting for a convicted felon?
My bottom line, George, is that I will vote for the person who I think is best positioned to move this country forward. I do not think that's Joe Biden. I do not think that is whichever other puppet, Kamala Harris or anybody else, that they roll out after Joe Biden. And if I'm expecting and deciding between the nominee, even though I disagree with many of my rivals in the Republican Party on a lot of issues, I think any of them will be better than Joe Biden or Kamala Harris to move this nation forward.
The problem for Ramaswamy, though, is that this nation is not moving past all the Trump political and legal drama. There is something known as equal justice under the law. Donald Trump has been charged under criminal statutes that have been used to charge other alleged criminals through the years. And according to some of Donald Trump's own former lawyers, the former president stands a good chance of being convicted, of having the distinction of being a convicted felon. That may not matter to the Republican voters who make Donald Trump their Republican presidential nominee or who might consider nominating Vivek Ramaswamy, but it's going to matter to Democratic voters and independents in the general election who may look up and see Vivek Ramaswamy as Donald Trump 2.0 with all of the sleaze and narcissism, only a bit younger. By the way, one of Donald Trump's most fervent cheerleaders in the U.S. Congress is Georgia Republican House member Marjorie Taylor Greene. She recently freaked out and is getting mocked.
I've been at home hanging out with all of the great, wonderful, normal people that actually have a brain and have common sense.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.